You can watch 1,000 videos on YouTube, you can listen to 1,000 podcasts and DM a million people on Instagram asking whether or not you should move to New York, but the truth of the matter is you will never know if you can make it in New York City until you move to New York City.
'Cause I'm not just a pretty girl, I'm more than just a picture. I'm a daughter and a sister. Sometimes it's hard for me to show that I'm more than just a rumor or a song on your computer. There's more to me than people know.
Hey y'all, it's Thomasina. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, thanks for tuning in. If you've been considering moving to New York City, this is your sign. This is your sign to go for it and just do it. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you a couple of reasons why you should move to New York City in 2021. It's so easy to get into this analysis paralysis of something that you want to do when you kind of have a fear of doing it, but my advice to you would be to research what you need to know, like how much rent costs, how to find roommates, etc., which I have videos on both of those, so check those out. But research what you need to know and then make the move. Don't get so caught up in the research and everyone else's opinions that you kind of psych yourself out to making that jump. With that being said, let's jump right into this video. As you all know, we are still in a pandemic, unfortunately. However, because of the pandemic, so many New York residents moved out of the city. At one point, we were the epicenter of the coronavirus, so many people moved out, which left a lot of vacancies and openings in these apartment buildings. Landlords are trying to fill these vacancies as fast as possible, and because of that, rent prices have significantly decreased. The price of property has significantly decreased in New York City. If cost is something that's preventing you from moving to New York City, I would say you really need to take advantage of the lower cost of housing that's happening right now during the pandemic. Housing is one of the most expensive parts about living in New York City, so if you can find a nice apartment for, like, let's say normally it's running for like $1,200, but because of the pandemic they've got it on sale for like $900. Like, you need to snatch that up right now. And because so many people have moved out of the city, a lot of people are also looking for roommates. So honestly, it's just the easiest time to find housing right now because rent prices are lower than they've been in a while, and so many people are looking for new roommates. If you are someone who is kind of intimidated by crowds and just overpopulated places, and that's one reason why you've kind of been scared to move to New York City, there is no better time than now to move here to kind of get adjusted and acclimated to the city before the crowds return to New York City. Because although we're not like a ghost town like some people were saying, it is significantly less crowded, and so it might be a little less intimidating if you move now as opposed to moving during peak season when people are coming back into the city because COVID cases are going down. Another reason why you should go ahead and move to New York City during this time is the amount of job openings. Like I said, so many people shifted outside of New York City when we were the epicenter of the coronavirus, and so that left a lot of job openings as well. Overall, New York is and always has been a very competitive job market, and so honestly, you know that if you can make it here, if you can get a job here, you can get a job anywhere. So why not try here first? Take advantage of these people that are leaving the city. You just come and swoop in and take their spot. Like, take advantage of this time. Another reason to move to New York is the food option. Like, literally, I came from North Carolina, and although the food was like decent in North Carolina, there weren't nearly as many options as there are here in New York City. Cuisine here is so diverse. Obviously, New York City is like a melting pot, and so you have like Italian restaurants, Ethiopian restaurants, Jamaican. The options are endless. While you'd be eating at all these places, you have access to city bikes and parks and stuff to run all that food off. Despite the crazy way in which New York City is portrayed in the media and like how disgusting and gross the streets are, New York, at least the people who are living in New York, are fairly healthier than like people in other states and other communities. Regardless of the season, you always see people running around. Even though this is a city and it's very like industrial, there are so many parks and so many opportunities for people to just like run trails and run wild, and so you're always going to see people running. We have companies like City Bike where people can sign up for memberships and just ride their bikes everywhere. People are always either running, walking, or riding bikes. And so I can definitely say for me, I've always been a fairly active person, but sometimes I'll get into my lazy spells, which is normal. But moving up here and seeing people constantly running, constantly on their bikes, constantly skating around, just constantly moving, gave me the motivation to stay active even when I was feeling lazy. Like it was like a kind of like a healthy competition almost. So I definitely think that moving up here would give you a little bit more motivation to live a healthier lifestyle. Another thing that I really appreciate about New York City and moving here, especially moving here from the South, there is a kind of like toughness that you develop when you move here, because New York City is not for the weak. I'm sure you've heard it multiple times. It's really not for the weak, and it can really take a toll on your mental health and your emotional health being here, especially if you move up here alone. And so if you can move up here and make it here, honestly, that is a major accomplishment. So when you think of New York City and people aspiring to move to New York City, most people come to this city with some kind of dream, some kind of goal that they're trying to achieve. There's usually an underlying reason why they're moving to the city. So if you move here, you'll be taking that one step to getting closer to achieving whatever this goal or dream is that you're trying to reach, which is a lot more than a lot of other people can say, because people are just too afraid to do it. They're too afraid to leave home. They're too afraid to move out of their parents' house, which, you know, I understand, but you have to get out there and live your life. You only have one life to live, so live it. Do what you want to do. And specifically to my early 20-somethings, there's no better time than now to go out and do whatever the heck you want to do. If you don't have any kids, if you don't have any other major responsibilities, go out and do what you want to do. That would be probably the number one reason why you should go ahead and move to New York. If you have a dream and you have a goal, you're not getting any closer to that dream sitting at home wherever you are watching this video right now. So take that first step, make the move, and then go from there. Now, if you want to move to New York City for like a specific industry, like let's say you are an aspiring musician or an aspiring actress or something like that, and your industry, you know, might be a little more stagnant now because of Corona, don't let that deter you from moving here. You know, you can move here, get a job in another industry, network in that industry, and continue to network in the industry that you are trying to enter, because even though you may not be actively working, people are always trying to network. People are always trying to figure out, you know, what can I do for you? What can you do for me? That's always going to be a thing, whether we're in a pandemic or not. So don't say, oh, I don't know if I should move up there because nobody's really hiring a drummer right now. Nobody's going to want to hire a drummer.
I'm not going to have any work. I'm not going to be able to pay for anything. I'm not going to be able to afford it, blah, blah, blah.
Make it work. Get a job in another industry while you continue to perfect your craft as a drummer. You guys, come on. Come on. It's too easy. Well, I'm not going to say it's easy. Obviously, it's going to be hard work, but you can do it. Stop doubting yourself. And stop asking me if you should move to New York City. Only you know the answer to that. I'm going to give you the best advice I can, but ultimately, you got to make that decision. Alright guys, I hope you found this video helpful. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to try to be as honest and upfront as possible. So if you have any other questions about moving to New York City, the process, what have you, just comment down below. I'm very responsive. Anyways, thank you guys for checking out this video. I will catch you guys next week. Bye!
'Cause I'm not just a pretty girl, I'm more than just a picture. I'm a daughter and a sister.